You get angry, you get frustrated, you get tired of somebody constantly picking on you. Why is this person always picking on you? And when that happens, after a while, don't you get angry?
Yeah.
You get angry, and that anger is someone else controlling you. And when you get angry, what happens? You don't think as clearly as you should be. And your response may be to hit that person, to get physical or fight back. But what happens if you get physical and try to fight back and hit the person, they fall and get injured seriously? Who do you think is going to go to jail? Yeah. So that's why, I wanted to show you this space and talk to you about, what it's like to be in jail. Okay. Now we have the bed, we have the toilet. Over here would be a little desk. Now I want to show you the size of the window. What size are the windows in your house? Does somebody want to come up and hold the window for me? Come on up.
I can't even fit over here. Oh, yeah.
This is how wide the window is in your jail cell. This is how wide. This is how much light you get, natural light from the sun. This is how big your window is. And the reason I know that is because what the inmates do when they want to keep the light from shining in, they'll take this note, lodge it in the window, and this fits exactly like this. This is the size of the jail window. Okay? Now, how much time a day do you think you may spend in this space? You and your cellmate. Let's have somebody else join him so you can see how crowded it is for 2 people to be in here.
Go ahead.
I want to join.
No.
Okay.
Hey, Alicia.
Hey.
How you doing?
Okay, now, how much time, how many hours a day do you think, go ahead.
23 hours?
If you're under punishment, or if you're in ad sec, it could be 23 hours a day. You would have to spend inside this area, you and your cellmate. Usually, it's more, I would say like 8 hours, and I'm going to talk to you about, and this is for people who, before they become 18 years of age. How do you think you spend your time? Do you get to decide what time you get up in the morning?
Nope.
No.
Oh, no.
I have a choice.
You don't have a choice. Absolutely, you don't have a choice. Do you think you have to go to school if you're a juvenile?
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you have to go to school. We require you to go to school. That's the one thing that you have to do. What time do you think you go to bed at night?
6.
Like around 6.
9 o'clock. 9 o'clock.
2.
9 o'clock at night.
No, Xbox.
And do you think you get to decide what else you do during the day? Now, we can say your bed's not made, you can go back in that cell, and until your bed is made, you can't come out. How many hours do you think you get to spend on the telephone? Well, if there are 100 people and there are only 4 phones.
3 minutes.
3 minutes. 3 minutes for each phone call. Now, I know a lot of you have parents who work 2 jobs. How many hours a day do you get to spend with your mother or your father? How much?
An hour.
How many?
An hour. 12.
You get 1 hour a week. An hour a week for a visit with your parents and your family and children, your sisters and brothers. An hour a week. Now, how much food do you think? Now, right now, when you decide you want a glass of water, where do you go? Right in your refrigerator and get it, right?
Yeah.
You want a piece of fruit, you go right to your refrigerator or the kitchen table and take it, right? I want to show you what a lunch meal looks like in the Philadelphia prisons. And this is an actual lunch meal. This is it. You can pass this around.
Ew.
This is what we serve for lunch every day in the Philadelphia prisons. We're required to give you 3 meals a day. They have to be nutritionally balanced. And that's what you get. All the major food groups are covered in the food that you get during the day. Now, do you want to see how big your breakfast and your dinner tray is? And from the dinners we've had here, I know how much a lot of us like to eat. This is a dinner tray.
Yo.
I eat this, Joe.
I'll pass this around. These are actual dinner trays from the prison. You know, I want us to be as graphic as possible. I want to show you what life in the prison is like. You may have your oatmeal in there, your eggs may be in another tray. That's what your dinner meals are like. Now let's say that these two start fighting. How do you think Well, a couple of you come up and act as correctional officers. You two stand up in the general area, and let's see if you act as correctional officers. Tell me what you think we do when we want to stop a fight.
Oh, hit him with a nightstick.
Taser. No, I ain't been out. Come on and show us what the correctional officers do.
Hit him with a nightstick.
How would you stop a fight?
Hit him with a nightstick.
All right. Okay, I'll be the window now. You show me, what do they do? You think they try and stop them?
No, let him go.
All righty, we don't taste it, but we do mace it. We do use pepper spray. Now, you know what pepper spray is made out of?
Pepper.
All right, now I know you all know what these are. You know how strong these are?
Yeah.
Okay. What if you have a canister about this size that's filled with an oil that's made out of these peppers? And what I would go in if they were fighting is I'm not going to try and stop them. I'm not going to try and pull them apart because we don't use force. And this is considered to be a lot more humane and a lot more gentle. If I use this, I'm not pushing anybody away for somebody to get hurt. And the first thing I do is right in the eyes.
Excuse me.
Right in the eyes. And that's exactly what we do.
Can you show
And just to demonstrate, what do you think I have in here? No, this is actually a cloth that's been permeated with the spray, with pepper spray that we use. Now I'm going to open it up. If you want to, you can sniff it. Do not put your face in here, because this is pretty strong. I don't know, it doesn't really. No, this isn't too bad. But don't put your face in it, because I'm not going to put my face in it. Anybody who has respiratory problems, do not, don't put your face in it, don't take a big whiff. This is what life in the prison is like. You get visits one day a week, based on the last letter of your alphabet. One day a week.
That's a day.
You get up in the morning. When we say you get up in the morning, you go to use the shower. When we say it's your turn to use the shower. You eat when we bring the food in. You go to bed when we say it's time to go to bed. We turn on the telephones. We turn on the TVs. And if there are 50 people sharing a TV, you may not get to see your favorite show ever, depending upon how long you're incarcerated. And all of that, and thank you very much. I appreciate the help. Whether or not you end up in jail a lot of times depends on your reaction and your response. And that's why it's very important that if you're being bullied, take control of the situation. And the best way to take control of the situation is go home and tell your parents. And if your parents don't know how to resolve the problem, go to someone else, a neighbor, a friend, an adult, someone who's going to be able to stand up and act on your behalf and provide you with the support and help you need. Thank you, Augustine. Did any of you all have any questions for me about? Okay, go ahead. Once you turn 18, no matter what your educational level is, no matter what your health, no matter whatever problems you have, once you become 18, we have to take you out of the unit where we house the juveniles, and we have to put you in the adult population. Anybody else have any questions? So, okay. Go ahead, John.
Let's say, like, you're 13, and let's say you're like about 2 years in prison. Well, once you turn 18, do they like take you right from the juvenile put you there, or do you stay in the juvenile?
No, if you're incarcerated, and depending upon whether or not your case is turned over to the adult court, you can go right from being a juvenile, being in the juvenile unit, to going into the adult side of the prison and being held with the adults. Now, the other thing that's important, and you asked me a question, it also depends on the crime you committed. So let's say that you killed somebody as a juvenile, and you know you really didn't mean to, but you did kill somebody. You're going to go from the juvenile section to the adult section where the adults, people who have committed murders and serious crimes of that type are housed. Not where someone who's been arrested for shoplifting, not where someone who maybe sold drugs. You're going to go to the section with the other adults, because then you become an adult who's committed that kind of serious crime. Now, I guess it's important maybe that I touch on a little bit about, okay, so you've been a juvenile and you've been in jail. How do you think that impacts your life later on getting a job? Anybody have a guess? It'll mess you up. It makes it difficult for you to go back into the community, get a job, go to college, because now there are certain laws on the books that if you're arrested for certain crimes, drug sales, you can't get certain grants and scholarships to go on to college. If you've been arrested for a drug charge and your family lives in public housing, you can't go and live with your family because they're living in public housing. And there are laws that prohibit people who have sold drugs from living in public housing. So you may find that you're not able to go back and be with your family after you've been incarcerated. Now, I did the best that I could. Go ahead. I'm sorry?
When you go to jail for fighting, right? If you get back, are you allowed to get the house?
Oh, if you've been in jail for fighting and no one was seriously injured, more than likely you will be able to return home. That is if your family will let you return home. I've had some young people, a young man spoke to me one day because he's in the work release program. And he asked me, what do you do when your mother won't talk to you anymore? And I told him, you must have done something very serious, because mothers usually don't turn their backs on their children. And then he went on to say that he has a sister who just had a baby. And he wants to be a support to his sister, but his sister lives in a mother's house. And I told him, you're going to have to, the kindest thing that you can do for your sister is leave her alone, because you don't have a place for her to live. And as long as she's living in your mother's house and she has a baby, she needs to be able to have your mother's support. I said, you're going to have to prove yourself to your mother. You're going to have to go home, work hard, you know, all those bad things you did, you're going to have to change so that although she won't forget them, there'll be things that happened in your past and things that you're no longer doing. You know, he feels very isolated. He feels very alone. But those are the results of his behaviors. You know, he said that his mother asked him to leave the house. Well, his mother put him out of the house because he had other brothers and sisters. And she made a very hard decision, and I'm sure it's heart-wrenching for her, that rather than have 4 of my kids go to jail, rather than have 4 of my kids be in trouble, I'll sacrifice the one if it means that I can save the other 3 and keep them from having to go through the same thing he's going through. So this is the best I could do. I never thought I'd be presenting a traveling jail cell, but this is about as graphic as it gets. The jail cells are 6 feet by 8 feet. Most of them are occupied by 2 people. There have been times when the jails have gotten so crowded that we have what we call a blue bunk, and it's a big blue thing, and we've had 3 people in that cell. Jail life isn't easy. It isn't easy. There are some emotional scars that go with it. Not only is this your toilet, but there's a portion on the top that's your sink and your water fountain as well. I didn't tell you that. And that's the door. So, again, this is my traveling jail cell. If at any point the youth group decides that they want to actually come in and see a jail, I can arrange that or try to arrange it. You all want to come and see? Okay. All right, then we'll work with Pastor Mullen and Pastor Dennis and Brother T and some other adults, because we're going to have to get your parents' approval or signature saying that you can come in. But this is what I do every day. I go through the jail. I'm responsible for making sure that the people there get food, that they're treated like they're people, because they are still people even though they've committed crimes, and that's important. But jail is not an easy place, and it's not a good place. And don't take it lightly. Be very careful how you respond. Be very careful about the people that you let in your life. Because if you let someone in your life who's doing things like bullying, who maybe is doing things like breaking into houses, you may find that even though you're not doing them, if you're seen with them, when the police come to pick that person up, someone in the neighborhood may say, he's always with him, he's always with him. Or if, when your friend bullies somebody, if they hurt them, they may pick you up as an accomplice. You didn't do it, but you're an accomplice by virtue of being there. So I want to thank you for allowing me to be part of this program today. And if there's ever anything that I can do or any supports that I can provide to you, or if you have any questions, call me. You know, stop me in church. My phone number's on the back of the bulletin. You know, it's been wonderful for me to be part of this community, and I love my presence here. And I really want to support you in any way that I possibly can. So if there are no other questions, I am going to turn the program back over to Pastor Mullen.
One that people used to try to bully me, so I started fighting them. I started doing some different stuff. If I see them in school, they try bullying me, it'd be the opposite wherever. I jump them, I fight them, so when I spent 1 week in school, I started doing the same thing in school. You started doing the same thing too?
See, he shared his experience too, because instead of him stopping them, he joined them to do it too. Yeah, come on.
When I went to Walnut, I used to get bullied, so I asked Prosper to ask them to stop bullying me, and they wouldn't stop. So Prosper, he told them to stop bullying me, and this kid Pee-Woo, he stopped it.
Prosper the hero.
Who next?
I'm scared of you.
When I used to go to Park Lane, sometimes when I was talking, they be start teasing me because they be like, speak, you know, all y'all know that African thing where they be like,
African British.
that thing, and every time, like when I'm saying something, he gonna be like, yo, speak your language, and everybody gonna stop doing that click thing, and it was just annoying. But one time, I just stood up to them and like I just avoid them and start hanging out with them, and they just stopped. They ain't bullying me no more.
What's about the girls?
The girl?
Yeah? What about the girls? Nothing? Keisha, you want to say something? Jackie?
They said the girls are opposite.
When I was in 3rd grade, this African girl, she used to get bullied, and these American girls used to beat her up and started kicking her and stuff. So I was just watching and
Hello, my name is Auntie Binta, And from my personal experience, I have been bullied. Can you imagine that? Yes. When I came from Africa, it's been a long time now. But it was a cultural shock for me because you all know who all was born back home. Who all was born in Africa? Liberia. Good. Or in Africa. You know that. Wonderful. You know, back home, growing up, when we go to school and our friends pick at us or we pick at them, we can fight. What I used to do, take my uniform up because I didn't want my uniform to be torn up. My mom would beat me up. So I wear casual clothes, right? And I fight and go home. And nothing came out of it because the next day I can make friends again. We didn't take it personal. We didn't take guns or knives. We can resolve it back home. But when I came here, I was bullied. I used to go to school and I had my hair all cut. By the time I put Jerry care, it was so ugly. And when I went to school, they would laugh at me. And I didn't know how to wear good clothes. My clothes were all mismatched. And they laughed at me. I didn't know how to speak the English well. So it was a cultural shock. And then after school, when I go to work, they have students that used to come from the college. Because at that time, I cleaned the table. I used to clean the table at the restaurant. And I used to speak the real Liberian English. So when they come, they'll laugh at me. And guess what? I didn't know you couldn't fight in America. I was about to go beat them up. And I chased them, right? The Liberian way, I'll run behind them. Running, that's the Liberian way of talking. I run behind them, right? And you know what I did? At that time, I spoke the real Liberian English because I didn't know how to speak the series. And I said, look at you. You blow me, I'll flog you. And when they saw me, right, and I had my hat on, and I didn't dress well, man. If you had seen my clothes, that clothes were all chakra. And they started running. They left their food. And what happened? My supervisor called me. And he said, and I didn't know why. You know what? I thought I just did a great job by running them out of the restaurant. Not knowing they just lost their food and they didn't pay the people. But I was just going to beat them up so they can come back again and laugh at me, right? So my supervisor called me. And he said, do you know what you just do? I said, they laugh at me. They came to laugh at me, so I went to beat them up. He said, no, this is America. You cannot do this here. If you hit on someone, you'll go to jail. I said, really? So once they come and beat me up, I can't stand. I'll fight back. I'll flog all of them. But he was kind to me, right? Because he knew I just came from Africa, and I didn't know the culture here, that you don't hit on people. And that place, they taught me well. They taught me not to hit back, but instead I should come, and tell somebody who's an adult. And I learned from that restaurant, and it helped a lot. So I learned not to hit these guys, They didn't come back to that restaurant to tease me anymore, but it was good that I learned. And another thing, when I moved to Minnesota, how many of you know tripping? You are tripping. I didn't know what tripping meant. And the lady, I was working as an adult, and I asked her to help me, and she said, you are tripping. I thought she caused my mother. And I went after her in the room, from room to room. I told her after work I was going to beat her up because she had just caused my mother. And nobody would tell me what tripping meant. It was a cultural shock. And it went down to the supervisor again, and they called me. And they said, you told her you would beat her up. I said, no, I lied. I said, I didn't say that, but it was truth, and I caused her too. At that time, they told me about welfare, that people could get free money, right? So I went after her. I said, look at you. You are so lazy. You get free money from the government. I'm going to beat you after work. And when my supervisor called me, I denied. But one of my supervisors, she vowed for me. She said, Binta do not know how to talk. She does not cuss. She doesn't even speak English well. But she didn't know that I was following the lady in the room. So you know what they did? They have to have a witness. They put somebody in the closet. I did not know. And I came after her again. And this time the witness came out. He said, now we hear you. You just commit an act. So they called me into the office. But I told her I didn't know what tripping meant. She cussed my mother. So what they did, they helped me to understand. After 2 years, I left that job. I went to school. I became a nurse. I got married. My name changed. They sent me back to that nursing home to work. But this time, my name was Binta Johnson instead of Binta Barry. And everybody was wondering, who is this Binta? All the same people work there. And when I walked in this time, I wasn't working as a nursing assistant, but I was working as a nurse. And she saw me, the same lady saw me. And she said, you are tripping. And I said, this time, I know what tripping means. So I want to talk to you all. We all can learn. It's been many years now. But that cultural shock, I learned that I know how to go and report. I know how to call somebody. So I want to encourage you all. You don't need to fight back. Talk to your parents. Talk to the school district. Talk to a friend. And we all can avoid this. Thank you.
You can become lawyers, you can become pastors, you can become teachers, you can become whatever you want if you set your mind to do the right thing. And it starts from school. If you don't get it in school, if you don't lay the foundation in school, you're not going to become that person you want to be. So our goal here is to not allow your dream to die, but to nurture your dream and your gift. Let me see anybody here who have a dream. You have a dream? We just celebrated Black History Month, right?
That's why it's so short.
Martin Luther had a dream, right? Did his dream come true?
Yeah.
Part of it, but it's still coming through, right? And we know many of the great peoples of this nation. You know, America, before America was born as a nation, there was a dream, there was a hope, there was a vision. And these people have to work to make the vision a reality. I was just at a meeting. Somebody said, let me ask this question before I go for it. Anybody here know the future?
No. I do.
How do you know the future?
I'm just saying.
Okay, he says that you can know the future when you plan for the future. I can wake up from here and go to the airport and get to Chicago, but before I go to the airport, what do I need to do?
Passport. You need a passport?
No, in the States. I don't need a passport to travel within the States. But I need to book a flight to Chicago. Because if I show up to the airport and I say I'm going to Chicago, they're going to ask me for my name and my ID. And guess what? They'll punch it in the computer. If I did not make a reservation to go to Chicago, they'll tell me sorry. So what I'm saying this is that in order for our future to be good, we have to plan for our future. And we want you to plan for your future by learning, by educating, by making good choices. That's why as a church, we can't just sit by and allow you to be bullied in school and we don't do anything about it. So our goal is to empower you so that the school can be good, because if you don't learn in school, you are the losers. The teachers, the principals, they've already got their education. And you just saw Sis Joyce, what she taught you. You don't want to spend your life in that kind of place. I go to Norristown State Hospital every Friday to work. And when you get into the prison system, you know what happens? A lot of people end up breaking down. Psychologically, their life is destroyed. And you go from one prison to the other. So we don't even want you to go even to the police station before we say jail. So we are here today because we are Christians and we serve a God who believes in action. We serve a God who believes that as God's children, we have the potential to do the right thing. Amen? So Reverend Solomon just gave you a parable about the Good Samaritan. Now, let me see how many of you came to church at least the last 2 months. 1, 2, or 3 times. The last 2 months, you were all in church. And we were reading Jesus' parable on the mountain, and Jesus was teaching a lot of things. And one of the things Jesus taught was that we should not pay back what? Evil for what? Evil. He even said that if somebody strike you on the one cheek, you should what? Turn the other. Anybody here can do that?
I can do it.
For $5.
Jesus said if somebody what? Hit you on one cheek, you should what? Turn the other. He also said if somebody said go with me 1 mile, go with them what? 2. You know why Jesus was teaching that? Because Jesus wanted to minimize the occurrence of conflict and fight in our society. Most of us come from Liberia. You know why some of us left Liberia?
No.
Do you know why we left Liberia? Some of your parents, have your parents told you why they left Liberia?
War.
There was a civil war. There was what? A civil war that lasted for 16 years. And you know how it started? The guy who took the war to Liberia, they said when he was in school, he was a bully. Charles Taylor. He was a what? A bully. Nobody did anything about it. He did it to his parents, he grew up, and he did it to a whole nation. You know how many people died in the war? Estimates varies. But it was over 500,000 people. So we want to encourage you to know that as Christians, you are called to make a difference. Anybody here baptized? Did I baptize any of you? How many of you were baptized in church or baptized somewhere else? You see, when you get baptized, you join the church family or the Christian family, and in our baptismal book, we have certain things we renounce. We say we renounce the forces of sin and the things that work against the will of God. In other words, when we became baptized, we said we were joining Jesus' camp. In other words, we're leaving the camp of the bullies, the camp of all the bad people, and get into the camp of Jesus. Nowadays, you guys don't wear the wristband that say, what would Jesus do? But that's a question you need to ask yourself whenever you find yourself in a difficult situation. If this was Jesus standing right here, if I was Jesus, let's put it that way. If I was Jesus, somebody trying to bully me, what would I do?
Strike never lightning.
He just said strike them with lightning. Jesus was struck down with lightning.
Oh, I mean like if you would.
You will pray for them.
Pray for them.
Pray for them. Okay. What else? Walk away. What else?
You'll get out of strength.
Oh, that's a good point. You know, in the garden, when they came to arrest Jesus, Peter told him, I want to fight for you. Jesus said, if I wanted to fight, I will pray and God will send legends.
That's what I was saying.
A lot of angels. And you know, angels are superhuman beings.
You can't touch them.
They are one hand, when they sway it, we can all fall on the ground. But you see, Jesus was trying to say that the reason he don't want you to fight, the reason he don't want you to go to war is that when we go to war as human beings, we are all affected. Somebody said that when you hurt one person, you are hurt in return. You know why? Because in us there is something about us that is human. We are a unique being. When we do something wrong, it does not only affect the person we hurt, but we are also hurt in return. We have something we call conscience. That's why some people, when they do something wrong, they will not be at peace until they call the police to report or they report to somebody. So when you hurt somebody, you are also hurting yourself. And you are not only hurting yourself, but you are hurting your family. You are hurting your community. You are hurting your school. And you are hurting the world. So we want you to be the peacemaker. You know one good thing Jesus said? He said, blessed are the what?
Peacemaker.
Peacemaker, for they will be called what? Who don't want to be called a child of God? Who don't want to be called a child of God? I want to be. Jesus said, well, Blessed are the peacemaker, for they will be called what? Children of God. We want you to be what? Peacemaker. We want you to make a difference. Listen, since Bita shared her story with you, let me share my own story with you when I came to America newly. I used to work for a company called Pen Reels. In Africa, when we go fishing, most of us don't have the advanced fishing stuff, right? We use what we call hook. Anybody fishing before when you're growing up? You go fishing, you put your bait on and you throw it in the water and you get the fish, all right? The reels, understand, that's what they use to fish with. And let me tell you this story. I want you to listen to this story very well. On my assembly line, there was a guy there. Everybody knew him to be a bully. He was the guy in the house. If you work in a particular department, if you're not submissive to him, he's going to make your life miserable. So when I got there, and he was good at his job, but he was also a bully. So I sat next to him. Some of you haven't worked, but when you go to work on the belt, if we are making this, let's just say the same, we say George Broad. The line begins there. The first person might put this, this on the belt. The next person is supposed to put the bread. The next person is supposed to put the meat. The next person is supposed to put the apple. And the last person is supposed to wrap it up. And nobody's going to wait for the other person. When it gets to you, you have to do your part. And just imagine I joined the job newly. I didn't know what to do. So this guy will be saying things to me, calling me names, some of which Peter had just told you about. Some people believe we in Africa, we live in trees and stuff like that. I'm telling you real stuff. So this guy will be saying all kinds of things to me, but I was a Christian, and I wasn't about to allow him to make me do something I won't do. Guess what? After 6 months, he tried everything he could. I did not respond to him negatively. Then one day he asked me, why don't you curse or why don't you say bad things to me when I say bad things back to you? And I told him I was a Christian. And I even told him that I had been a pastor in Africa before coming to the States. You know why he told me? He said, when you start a church in America, invite me. I'm saying this to say that you don't have to allow somebody to convert you to be a bad person. You can convert somebody from being a bad person to a good person. A lot of people who do bad stuff, they are looking for help. They are looking for what? Help. They want to stop doing bad. The only thing they know how to do is bad. So if you show them another way, positive example, they can change. And guess what? You will be a hero. You will be celebrated. You will be admired. So we've done a lot of talking. I know some of you are hungry. But this is just the starting stage. Be a difference maker. Be a peacemaker. Don't let somebody make you become a bad person, but you can be a good person. Again, there's an expression I say, a hint to the wise is what? Enough. Knowledge is power. You've gotten some knowledge today. Put that knowledge to work. And like our first speaker said, if sometimes you're not able to talk to your parents or to your teacher, talk to us. And with the help of those who have spoken to us today, we will know what to do so that your life in school can be better. Amen? So let me start here since we've been doing a lot of question and answering. If you have any question for me about the church or about some other things that you think the church might be doing good or the church is not doing good, or what should the church be doing, I can answer some of your questions before we do lunch. I think since Peter, they are almost ready, and Reverend Moya will come to wrap it up. Any question for me? Yes, Prosper, I see your hand up. He wants the microphone, that's good. You want to be audible.
The church go to the schools to stop bullying, like people talk to the principal.
Will the church, where you just heard some of the steps that involves, your first choice as a student is, to notify the authority in the school. If the school don't do something about it, the next thing you can come to your parents or you can come to the church. And personally, I have been to 1 or 2 schools on this particular issue of bullying. So I am willing, and by the grace of God, Reverend Moya and other people around here, we will be the next, we can support you in other words to get the message across to the school that you are being bothered. So yes, we're still ready to do that. Okay, if you don't have a question for me, I will ask 3 questions. Okay. You don't have a question. Anybody got a question? Okay, let me ask, okay, you got a question? Let me ask 3 questions before I take my seat. Who can tell me, are we listening? Who can tell me the meaning of church? C-H-U-R-C-H.
Oh. Which one, like, there's it's two meaning of church.
Okay.
Church is like a group of people coming together to worship.
Okay.
And the other meaning of church is a building where people come to worship.
Okay. Okay, yeah.
A group of people. Well, I got the.
Any kind of group of people?
People in the.
You realize you're on tape, right?
Believe in the same religion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me just put what Thomas and what's your name again, young man? Carlos. Thomas said church is a group of people who come together to worship, but we could also refer to this building as a church. But it's not just any kind of group of people, but a group of people who believe in what Jesus taught and lived. So if you are in the church, or if you come here, you are a church, you are part of the church. We are church individually and we are church collectively. So know that when you are out there, you are also representing the church. You are part of the church. Does that make sense to you? Huh? Let me put it this way. How many states in the union? How many states we got in America?
51.
Everybody for the different states Americans?
No.
Oh.
No.
Wait.
No.
Yeah.
Good one.
But we call all of us America or American, right? The same way. All the people in the 50 states, as long as you were born here or you become citizen by paper, people can say you are an American. So in other words, the church is not something abstract. The church is you. That's why we are doing this, so that you, as part of us, can respond to bullying in the school. Question number 2. Let me pull it this way. What about church that brings you to church? Yes, Charlie. Preaching. Come to hear the preaching. What else? Songs.
The Bible.
The Bible. Good answers.
French.
Friends. Friends. James, what did it just say?
I said movement.
Movement. Can you say a little more about that?
That's what I said.
Okay. So you see, church has multiple expressions, right? We don't just come to church because we're coming to sit down. We come to church because there's music, there is preaching. And preaching is another form of teaching, letting you know about knowledge. The church passes on knowledge. The church is also part of the culture. There are things about American culture that you learn from the church. Good. Last but not the least, what about church you don't like? Be very frank, because we want to listen to you and be a better church. Yes, Prosper.
Come here to put you in the separate classes so you've been up there.
Okay, so you don't like the fact that you can leave church to come to your own class down here. Okay.
You don't like that?
Yeah, he's free to express himself. What else about church you don't like? Don't be shy. This is a learning place. Do we have bullies in the church?
Yeah. Number 1 right there.
No, don't point fingers. Let's be general. Don't point fingers. Do we have bullies in the church?
No, not really.
Not really.
Not really, no.
Okay, so if there was a bully in the church, you got to let me know. Because the church is supposed to be a safe place, right? A safe place. Yes, Thomas, what was that?
I like to report too.
Okay, talk to me after the workshop. We can't tolerate, anything that is not good in the church, because the church is supposed to be what? A safe place. A place where you come, you feel safe, your family come, you have fun, you learn, you grow, you socialize, you become good men and women who will contribute positively to society. Okay, yes.
Someone just answered that there's no bullying in the church. But I heard a testimony from a youth. Probably this person is here or not, but I think this person is somewhere around here. And this person said they like singing. You want to sing. Okay. But for every time you come to sing, her friends or whoever is it will try to make fun of her. This is a form of bullying because it's like it allows her to have a talent.
Yeah.
And it happens right within our midst here. So is it right for us?
Good point. Good point. Good point. Let me, yes.
I object. She can't sing.
Okay. Let's get this right.
I have a...
Listen very well. No. We have talents we are born with, and there are some things we can learn. So you don't have to tell somebody they can't do this. In fact, you live in America, and one of the ideas of America is your freedom to become who you want to be, to grow, and for your gift to mature. So don't try to suppress your friends. In fact, the next program we're going to be doing every 2-3 months will be, I think we're calling it talent, gifts, or something. You come out, whatever gift or talent you have, you show it. Most of the artists, especially musicians, they started in the church. They started in the church. That's where their people started their gift, and their gift started to develop. The one good thing about church is, everyone is welcome. We don't discriminate in church. So these are some of the things you have to have in mind. When you have visitors here, don't treat them like outsiders. Welcome everyone, because that's what Jesus would do. Okay? So I don't want to take much time. I think our lunch is ready. I don't know if Reverend Solomon have a final word, or I don't know. So Reverend Solomon will come up to make some closing remarks, and I think we will eat and we'll be leaving here. Okay, so thank you very much. She's a journalist from the Delaware County Daily Times. Yes, I read it some of the time. But they cover the story the other time, back to school, backpack. That was good. We're glad they carried it. So you're part of the larger community. I really appreciate the fact that you are here with us today. Yeah. Okay, thank you. All right, Reverend Moyen, closing remarks, and then we can start eating.
I want to solve the problem. I got this. Ready. Oh, it fits.
So just try to live your life up out there so that people can know that you are part of a community, and that community is a community that is supposed to be good. People from the church supposed to be good. They're supposed to be an example. When you go out there, what kind of example are you setting out there that other children will see and say, oh, I want to be like you, or I want to follow you? Those are the things that we really need to think about when we go out there. And I always tell you people, if you go out there and do anything wrong, you alone, it's not affected. The whole community affected. I am affected because the first thing, you are part of me. And then come to the church, and then you go to your parents, because the first thing they will say, who is his parent? Where do he go to church? Your school is being affected. You see how many people you have called into what you did? So you see, when you go out there, just try to behave and be yourself. And everything you learn here today, we want you to go out there knowing that we care about you. That's why we are here. And we want you people to be great people and serve the society. Be blessed. Amen. Amen.